In light of recent events, we want to take the time to say that we support the peaceful protesters as this fight for equality and the recognition of the value of human life continues. Black lives do, in fact, matter, regardless of station. Though we are deeply troubled by current events, we ourselves turn to comedy in order to recover after witnessing such horrors as are now daily taking place with widespread coverage. And it is for that reason that we decided to continue releasing this podcast on its usual schedule. So enjoy. Hi kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock Doc podcast featuring Dr. London Smith. Why are they using tear gas on peaceful protesters during a pandemic? Introducing your host, Dr. London Smith.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock Doc podcast, where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. I would like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We have received some feedback about the overuse of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as meiotic non-disjunction and timber. So I will try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Hello, Dr. London. How are you?
I'm relatively okay. How are you?
Why can't we get down to the nitty gritty? What's with all the, these passive aggressive, like, oh, I'm doing fine, I'm doing pretty okay. That's not even an answer. I want the real Dr. London to answer.
Yeah, well, it's just, I don't know if you're aware of this, but today is the annual performance review, so I'm a little antsy over it. 52nd episode, 52 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what do you have to worry about?
Yeah, I don't assume anything, but it's just like for any test, you get a little, anxiety. That's all.
No, I don't
I'm
think
sorry.
so. I don't think that's normal for most people.
Who take a test?
I mean, I guess for the people at the bottom of the totem pole, or, the low scores in the class, I guess I could see if I was one of those. It's hard to just imagine, I guess if I was one of those people, maybe I would get stressed out about a test.
Yes. Well,
but, usually on test day, I wake up and then I go to the donut shop, and I'll usually get like a dozen kolaches and a dozen donut holes assorted, and then a dozen donuts, and then I'll eat that in the parking lot with Miss Franson.
Okay.
The home ec teacher.
Yeah.
Because me and her, I think we have a connection that a lot of people wouldn't understand.
And that's not
it's
really
every day.
Is that with a test, or how's that related?
Oh yeah, this is test day. Because I'm just relaxed, baby. I'm just hanging out. And then I go take the test, ace it, obviously, like everyone except for the people at the lowest part of the class.
Yes. And you actually take it. You aren't hiring someone else, or...
Well, I mean, does a person who created and designed a car, don't they hire other people to do the actual, hands-on work?
The manufacturing? So you're saying
the assembly line work,
So you study hard for a test, and then...
I'm saying I hire an assembly line of people. Just like when you're building a car or building anything in a factory. So each person is responsible for one answer on the test. That way it makes it super easy. So if there's 85 questions on the test, I got 85 people in the classroom, and they just pass it around one at a time. And I ace it every time, like most people would.
Okay. So anyway, so that's our producer, Cameron. Also with us. Yeah, that was you, Cameron. Also with us is Digital in the house.
I feel the pain. I feel the pain of black people. I feel the pain of white people.
Yo, what the f? He didn't do anything.
And later, rather than having a guest, I think we're just going to be focusing really on this performance review so we can, bring you guys the best podcast possible.
Yeah, and I'm excited to really dig in deep here, Dr. Lennon, because I think there's been a lot of things to cover. There's been a lot of complaints that have gone ignored.
Yes.
People are saying a lot of different things. I've been saying a lot of different things, and I think it's high time we address these issues with this podcast.
I am concerned about the amount of feedback you've personally given. But before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback that I assume is not from Cameron. I found this note jammed into the wooden support of my mailbox with a large hunting knife. The note reads, quote, "Safety first. Driving is a great way to test your vision. Much safer than going to the optician or trying to read something like, say, government guidelines. XX." End quote. So first of all, thank you so much for reaching out to the Jock Doc podcast. We love to hear from these listeners. To answer your question, I would like to clarify that although driving an automobile could serve in some capacity as a test of vision, the issue becomes the consequence of failing that test. So if a person fails at the optician, they'll find a treatment for you, like corrective lenses or something. On the road, failure could mean, injury or death to yourself.
Or running into a Chicken Express.
Or others. I'm sorry?
Or running into a Chicken Express.
For example.
I understand this person's hesitation to trust government-mandated eye test charts. Why are you guys hiding all of these crazy and creepy messages in your eye charts? I hate it. I don't like taking those tests because every time I walk away knowing something that I wish I didn't know.
So usually it's just, kind of a random assortment of, letters, and it's not really a message.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and it just happens to say, "Cameron, I know what you did."
I feel like this is an example of you reading into something that isn't necessarily there. Did you
Cameron,
write that?
I know you pretend that it never happened, but you know it happened. And then I'm saying, "Doctor, what is this?" And the doctor's on his damn phone, just texting away, tweeting away.
Was this an actual physician?
So I ran into a Chicken Express.
Oh. Okay, well, anyway, to this listener, thanks for listening. And now for today's medical topic, chronic bronchitis. Chronic bronchitis, like emphysema, is a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. It is a clinical diagnosis characterized by chronic cough productive of sputum for at least 3 months per year for at least 2 consecutive years. So COPD is currently the 4th leading cause of death in the United States. Chronic bronchitis is caused by excessive mucus production that results in the narrowing of the airways. They also have inflammation and scarring in airways, enlargement in mucus glands, and smooth muscle hyperplasia, and all of these lead to obstruction. So
And that happens 3 months out of every 2 years with the 2 months in the third year. Is that what you said?
it's chronic cough, productive of sputum, for at least 3 months per year. And then
So 2 months in a third year
it's
with a third month in the 2.
I'm sorry.
Is that right?
I should
Nope.
restate. So it's 3 months in a given year, and then it has to be 2 consecutive years of that happening.
So it's
Say what?
so it's 3 weeks on the first year, but
Nope.
then 9 weeks on the second, right? Because you would split it up, and then by the third, and then you would add the 3 months. Is that right?
Well, and this is, your physician will probably do this part for you, Cameron. But
Oh, my physician's not a math guy.
okay, so it is chronic cough, productive of sputum, for at least 3 months per year for at least 2 consecutive years. So it's 2 years in a row, 3 months
With the third, and then in the third one,
3 months per
you do
year.
a 2 month.
So it's-
you do a back to back month on the fourth year. That rolls over from the second year.
Yes.
Yeah, what's the rollover on this?
I don't think there's a rollover situation. It's more just like one way you could think of it is just if
If you don't use the 2 months in the second year, you've lost it in the third year as well.
you have to do at least, and I say it like you have to do, but really this is an illness. You shouldn't do this if you can help it. But 3 months per year for 2 years in a row, at least, is how you
I think
qualify.
you guys should really think about a rollover system.
Yeah,
'Cause I just don't see everyone using the third month in the fourth year.
yeah. Well, and this is why it's more of a it's up to your physician really to make these kind of judgments. But
And again, he's not a math guy.
all right. Well, in any case, so emphysema, which is what we talked about last week, emphysema and chronic bronchitis, they often coexist, but predominant chronic bronchitis patients present as what are termed blue bloaters. They tend to be overweight and cyanotic, which is a term for when the skin is blue or purple. And this is secondary to chronic hypoxemia and increased carbon dioxide in the bloodstream. The most important intervention in chronic bronchitis is smoking cessation. Smoking cessation prolongs the survival rate, and oxygen therapy has been shown to improve survival and quality of life in patients with both COPD and chronic hypoxemia.
So this smoking sensation, it improves my, what'd you say, invincibility and quality of life?
Okay, no, I should clarify. The word is cessation, as in you don't. It's not a sensation. It's quitting smoking.
No,
Is what I'm trying to say. Here.
No, I mean there's a pretty good sensation while smoking.
All right. Well, so the argument here is that actually it may, provide you a good feeling in the moment, but long term it can be damaging. So other treatments include bronchodilators like anticholinergic drugs and beta-2 agonists. And in acute exacerbations, you can consider steroids and antibiotics. Symptoms and severity will change treatment approaches, and lung resection or transplant could be potential options for certain cases. But quitting smoking is really the best way to approach this.
And so the smoking sensation, you said, it temporarily is, might feel pretty good, but it's going to hurt you in the long run. That's kind of like eating a whole boar. In the moment, yeah, it feels good. It feels smart, like you want it.
I'm not sure.
But boy, you're going to pay for that later.
Yes.
Have you
You're
run
going
into
to pay
this?
for that later. If you eat the whole boar, whew,
Is this a problem you've run into, enough to know that it's a bad habit?
to get a tummy ache after eating a whole boar?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just assume. It's a lot of meat.
Okay, because the way you say it, you make it sound like, like, oh, I've done that before. I've been down that road. I've had that habit. Don't do it.
Oh, so I can't just use basic human common sense and logic to figure that out?
Okay, so you haven't...
To know that eating an entire animal's worth of meat...
So you haven't done that.
...is probably going to give you a tummy ache? This is the scientific method, Dr. London. I thought you, of all people, would appreciate this.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that you were stating a hypothesis. I thought you were, just telling me about a dining experience you had.
Okay.
Okay. Just I just wanted to make sure of it. Okay. We can move on from there then. All right, Cameron, do we have a sponsor today?
We do, Dr. London. I'm really, really, really excited about this. This is, as you know, this is sort of the 52nd episode, which means we've been doing this for about a year now.
Right.
And so, that's a year's worth of episodes, a year's worth of listeners, a year's worth of, merch and products and advertisers, and it's a year's worth of raising money for our show.
Well, it seems like, because you have a history of kind of, like, we'll get sponsors, but then you seem to kind of chase them away, or...
And I know I'm a bit of a troublemaker, and sometimes I don't know the logistics or the Excel sheets or whatever, the PowerPoints of every single little businessy thing. But I'm very, very, very excited to tell you that just a few days ago, we raised our $1 millionth for the podcast.
Really?
Yeah. It turns out one
Wow.
of those past advertisers, and I don't know which one, ended up being so successful. And because they had given me a share of something, we got the check in the mail.
And this is real.
This is 100% real.
Wow.
And you also don't know which...
I feel like it's
advertiser?
got to be Billy's bunghole sauce, right?
Yes.
I guess I don't know, but...
I saw that at the movie theaters the other day. I was at the AMC, and you could put it on your popcorn.
Okay, it sounds like... I'm sorry, you went to the movie theaters?
Yeah. Just for the popcorn.
Right, okay. Okay. All right, well, okay, so I guess if we have this funding, we can start
with this new...
really educating more.
Exactly.
We can do advertising. We could start, the real dream of this podcast to fund medical missionary work.
Yeah, absolutely. And all of those things, they all have to get to those things. We got to take a big first step. And, you definitely have to spend money to make money, which is why today's advertiser is our biggest advertiser yet. And I've spent all of our $1 million getting this advertiser. It's Nike.
I'm sorry. You spent that all the $1 million?
Yeah, getting the advertiser. And we got him. We got Nike, Dr. London.
Because once again, you don't advertise. Okay, advertisers are supposed to pay you to run an advertisement because it gives exposure for their product.
Okay.
And so...
Oh, no, I already paid them.
Yes.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that if they're trying to run an ad, they're basing it on... What we have to give them is a number of listeners, okay? People who will hear their product, okay? And so we expose those listeners to words about that product.
Sure.
And that is a service that they pay us to receive. And so it's an exchange.
You're thinking of a volunteer. And this is more of a advertiser. And so the money's already been, it's been cash. They accepted it. And so now we can finally finally, what I've been always dreaming of, advertising Nike. And so Nike's got the shoes, they've got the check mark, Michael Jordan, they've got like track suits or maybe like a hoodie. You get a Nike hoodie anytime you want, probably sweatpants, probably like sweatbands.
Yes.
You could probably get a sweatband with just the logo, even without the word Nike, which is kind of cool. It's kind of minimalist when you do stuff like that. Because they're such a big brand that we really don't even have to advertise them at all. Every single person who could possibly listen to this knows what it is.
Yeah, well, okay.
And so you can just do the swoop on like whatever you want.
So that's just not how it works. So
Sunglasses,
I'm wondering,
probably. Maybe like goggles, like swimming goggles.
So we didn't get any
about like cleats,
money
right?
From
like soccer
Nike.
cleats.
Nike didn't give us anything.
Not a dime.
Nope.
Well, no, they did give us like a thank you for the $1 million.
Yes.
They acknowledged that we paid to advertise.
Yeah, they said thanks. Appreciate it.
And you're sure it was the Nike Corporation?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely gave it to a guy with like a check mark in a bag.
Okay.
Like those sacks that have a dollar sign on it. This had the Nike check mark.
Yeah, a lot of bags have that particular logo on it because
because Nike is an international corporation with a lot of employees.
Yeah,
I was
famous.
I was so lucky to meet this guy.
And so I guess my point is like someone like
just
you
like
or me.
the bottom of the cleats, the soccer cleats.
Yeah, so one
Nike
of us could
cleats,
have
just do it,
just
cleat it,
easily been wearing the same bag, and it wouldn't have meant anything.
Just cleat it.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll. Thank you to.
Can you
Nike,
say just cleat it? I think they would appreciate if the host said it.
And you think that that's their new slogan as well?
Well, it's sort of like a pitch, right? Because it's like just do it, but we're talking about cleats. So maybe just do it. You use that for everything else, like the tennis shoes and the hoodies and beanies and all that stuff. But then for the cleats, you have just cleat it. So it's sort of a subsidiary, really, of Nike.
Okay. Just cleat it.
DJ Dylan, you got that?
Yes.
You got it clean?
Yes.
All right, we're good.
All right, so Cameron, you've been bringing up, and I also did, the fact that we have a performance review today, just the annual performance review. I want to make sure that we're doing right by our listeners.
Yeah.
We're bringing the kind of educational content that we want. I want to see, I don't know, should we be going a little bit deeper with the medical content? Like sometimes I skip over a little bit of the treatment options, and I don't always explain, the pharmacology and, how that would affect the pathophysiology of a given, treatment plan. So with that in mind, I wanted to make sure that we kind of talked things out, made sure that we're on the same page.
And this is going to be hopefully, Dr. London, if you agree, sort of a free-flowing conversation between you and me and the listeners. Yes, the listeners aren't listening to it live, but in a way, they're part of the conversation with us, and they can contact us and with their own views as well.
Yeah, and this is why we read the listener feedback. We try to keep in touch. We want to any corrections that need to come in, that sort of thing.
It's going to be a free flowing conversation between you and me and the listeners and my buddy Petey.
I'm sorry, Petey.
He's going to be the new executive producer on the show.
Huh? I guess I was unaware of. So you're the producer,
mm-hmm.
and Petey is the executive producer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
he won't be around much, but he'll chime in sometimes. I might get a text message. That's kind of
Okay.
what he's thinking.
So is he listening live then?
He's definitely listening to something. I can
Okay.
tell because he's singing along. I can see on the feed.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess. Hello, Petey. Thank you for joining us. All right. So I guess we can.
I think he's listening to. I think it's Face Down by the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. I can't really read lips, but it just has that energy, you know?
Because you're reading the lips of him singing along with a song.
Yeah, and it's got to be Face Down.
Okay. And it couldn't
I think
just...
he's going face down in the dirt.
It couldn't just be that he's trying to talk to us and he's muted.
No, the headbanging wouldn't make any sense with that. But wait, let's get to these reviews,
Okay.
right?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Jock Doc Annual Performance Review.
So we have this sort of formality we have to go through, Cameron. I hope
Okay.
you're fine with that.
Yeah. What's my name? You said Cameron?
Cameron? Did I say Cameron? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think so, but that's fine. I wanted to make sure I wasn't saying my name wrong this whole time. That would be so embarrassing.
Yeah.
If this whole time I thought my name was Cameron, but it was really Cameron, and so I was like, oh no.
Yeah, okay. And just for the listeners, this performance review was given to me by, like, these papers were given to me by Cameron, or I guess maybe by Petey, the executive producer. I don't know who it came from originally, but we'll just kind of review this. All right, so what have your strengths been in the last 52 what has your strength been, one strength, been in the last 52 episodes? And that's directed towards the listener. Okay.
Yep.
Cameron, do you want to start?
And again, this is a free-flowing conversation, so I want to hear from the listener.
Okay.
What are our listeners' strength that they've learned over the last 52 episodes?
Okay, good. This will give me time to think.
So we're just going to wait for the listener's response. Just going to sit here. Just going to wait. Are the phones, are they unplugged?
Oh, no, I think because you had to sell the phones to pay for... okay, so I think one of the strengths of our listeners is they're very good at listening.
Not this new batch.
Okay. Well, I guess just from the silence, that's what I assume. I guess just being quiet would be another strength.
I told our listeners over the internet, I was doing an Instagram live video, and I told our listeners that I don't hide any sort of, candies or any sort of, snacks like chips or whatever. I don't hide anything like that underneath my dresser. Guess what I find in my room 3 days later?
A listener?
A listener stealing my snacks. And I said, no, I don't keep my snacks under there. So they're not, no. To say that they're good listeners would be sort of a bold-faced lie. I think the main strength of our listener over the last 52 episodes is that he has gained, I think, some sort of an antidote to the poisons that I've been using on him.
Okay, I guess that does bring us to another point in the annual performance review. So, Cameron, you have managed to narrow down the fact that we only have one listener left now, and it is that one you're referring to.
Yes.
Well, it's consolidation. I've consolidated, because there was a lot of repetitive listeners. There was a lot of listeners where it's like they were basically like the same type of person. So we've now consolidated it down to just one person, sort of to make the process a lot more efficient.
Yeah, so does that make it more efficient? Because it seems like it just makes us lose listeners, lose, potential sponsorship opportunities. potential chances to, increase the revenue for the podcast in order to, once again, hopefully pay for medical supplies for those in need. Do you see how that's an issue?
We've saved so much on bandwidth because we've been able to, remove the redundancies and consolidate everything, really streamline everything. Oh. This is the internet, Dr. London. It's all about, the fast-paced 90s.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, for our listeners, this isn't really so much a medical fact, but the current year is actually 2020. It's not, we're no longer in the 1990s. So I just want to make that clarification real quick. But Cameron,
and I do also want to mention I would make an announcement to our listener. I haven't been able to make it to the store at all lately, and so if you could maybe pick me up, maybe like a carton of eggs, just a thing of whole milk, maybe like Horizon organic whole milk, just to have like a half gallon. And then just a loaf of bread, and that way I can make French toast.
Yes.
All right. Well, Cameron, are you ready to read off your portion?
Yeah, sure, Dr. London. Well, I mean, I have a question here that was definitely direct. I believe it's directed towards you. This comes from a listener.
Okay, great.
So they say, Dr. London, why are you so stinky? I feel like I can smell your stink through the podcast. I didn't know that was a feature. I've looked through all of my phone settings, and I've tried to turn the stinky smell off, but that doesn't seem to be a setting. Could you explain the medical technology for why this is happening?
That is
Okay.
Your lover, Petey.
All right. Well, thank you, Petey, for your question. Cameron.
Oh, no, that was an anonymous listener.
Okay. And do you happen to know, is that anonymous listener our executive producer by any chance?
I no way to know.
Okay. So, I guess one possibility to explain that would be the Whiff app, which has been advertised on our podcast. This is one of our sponsored episodes, which was supposed to be a medical, a new medical technology. But I thought that we kind of dismissed that, decided not to go with it. So I'm not sure. Cameron, do you know if there's any update from that?
Oh, that is stanky.
I mean, I would say I did hear from a listener recently that the podcast was giving off a real bad stinky stink.
Okay, so this is okay, well, it's good to know this
is the one. It's the one in the letter.
Oh. It's the same.
I had heard about that earlier today. Like just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah. No, I remember. Okay, well, I guess I'll try to bathe more. Maybe I'll wear more cologne. I'm not sure really. I guess if it's in your
cologne's
phone,
kind of an old school thing. Outside of like special events, I would say just maybe switch up your deodorant or your body wash, whatever you're using.
Well, and as an alternative idea, and this isn't, I will try to work on my personal hygiene, but maybe if you take your phone with you to the restroom and to other places where it can acquire a smell. Cell phones are notorious for gathering germs. So maybe try to wipe yours down, and when I say wipe yours down, I do mean with, some antibacterial product. And that might actually, assist in your problem. And maybe your phone rather than my personal stink, if that makes sense.
Given that I smell you pretty frequently, I'm going to say it absolutely does not make any sense.
Okay, and No, and that's fine.
Do you have do you have anything in the performance review now for me?
Yeah, so let's see. Well, there's a lot. Okay, so here. Okay, and this is to Cameron. Exactly how many sponsors' lives have you ended? Okay, that actually does seem kind of harsh.
That seems really harsh. I take care of our sponsors.
I mean, you did leave a lot of them in a submarine, correct?
Yeah, because I take care of our sponsors.
Well, but they passed away because of that whenever you went up to get out, right?
I have no idea. I just know I took care of them. You get it?
Oh, so you mean...
Do I need to take care of you too, Dr. London?
When you say you took care of... You are answering the question, aren't you? Okay. All right.
I'm saying maybe this question asker needs to be taken care of. And maybe the little doctor who's reading it, huh?
Denied.
Yeah, so I'm sorry to... Okay.
So I do have some feedback here. It does say, Dr. London, that it sounds like you're not sitting up straight. We actually got that from a number of our listeners.
Okay.
And so I think that's something that maybe we could improve on is your posture.
That's fair.
And so
okay.
One of the things I was hoping we could do is, so here, turn around a little bit.
Yeah.
Where your back's facing me, okay? Mm-hmm. And then can you hand me the thing with the handle with the big metal thing on the end?
My hands are full. Can I foot it to you?
Yeah, you can just foot it to me. That's fine.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, it's like a big metal piece. It's got a flat head, and then there's like a handle to use for hitting in nails, you know. And so I'm just gonna take.
You're talking
this
about
thing.
a hammer?
So I'm just gonna. You're the one passing it to me with your foot.
Yeah. No, I guess I'd.
So I'm.
For the listeners.
So go ahead, face the other direction. I'm just gonna hit your back. I'm gonna do it 30 times.
Okay. No, actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and foot that right back.
Huh. What? Da. Ba. Ga. Ja.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Da.
Please.
Ga.
Okay. And.
Ba.
Okay.
All right. So now sit up straight.
Well, so I'm just going to lay down here for now.
All right. Listeners can hear that, though.
Okay.
They call you the bad posture imposter.
Okay, well, maybe, rather than us try to recount...
Steph Curry said that on TV a couple weeks ago. That's how crazy that nickname's gotten.
So maybe rather than, trying to remember what we've done, we can just replay some old clips. Like, would that make sense for you?
I guess it would make sense if it's in line with some of our feedback here.
Yeah, so just, some of the ones that really reinforce, let's say, that latest one, my posture. All right, so let's listen to that clip. Ow! Go! No! No! Mother! Ow!
Just hold still. Just hold still. I'm going to ruin your posture. It's for your neck health.
That's ow! Okay, so that was a fun clip.
Wow, that was a great memory.
I feel like maybe my poor posture is, a consequence of maybe some of your impact on the podcast and my person. Your influence on my person,
Okay.
Okay. And then...
So I win?
I'm sorry. Performance review, it's more for us to just evaluate where we are, how can we improve going forward, It's It's not really about winning.
Okay, but how many points did I gain in that last round?
Okay, so I don't think there's a point system to it.
Can I go for a double? Can I request I'm going to go for a double.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll just...
All right, let's go for a double. So right here, we've got some more listener feedback. And this isn't even a listener. It's actually from our boss, Casey Anthony.
Okay.
Casey says, why didn't you ever play that episode I guested on? I was really looking forward to it because I'm a huge fan, but it never happened.
Okay, we can...
I mean, do we want to play a clip from that?
I mean, just a brief one, and I think we had a really... We did have a medical lesson, and it just didn't seem like it filled a full episode, basically. That was the problem with it. Okay. Right, so Cameron, in idiopathic guttate hypomelanosis...
Come here! Sit down! Sit down!
In front of the guest?
Sit down! Shut up, Casey! Go away! Sit down, Dr. London.
Okay, just hold him down. Well, don't hold him down that much. Okay. Let's end this show right now.
Where did she get that rope from?
All right, so that, once again, I am seeing a kind of a violent pattern, which, Cameron, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the audio, like, if there's a visual component that you're trying to convey about improving posture or ruining it.
It's not me, it's the listeners.
Yeah, so they can't see it is the problem. And these are pretty...
But they can tell. It's like when they say on the radio that you can tell when someone's smiling or not from their voice and their inflection. They can tell how well your posture is.
How well
it's pretty easy. Ira Glass, terrible posture. Joe Rogan, his head's on backwards. You can tell. That's why his body's shaped like that. Okay.
Well,
I imagine it was some sort of punching accident. Someone spun his head the opposite way. But it's the only way to explain why he looks the way he does. Is because his head is on.
Yeah. Backwards. Okay, well, I feel like at this point we are running in a few circles about this this annual performance review. Like I feel like maybe I'll try to be maybe a little bit more in depth with the medical lessons. Does that make sense?
That sounds terrible. Sounds awful.
Okay, well, what are your takeaways here?
The medical lessons, I think the medical lessons need to be hella simplified, Dr. London, because right now they're like, excuse me, if you take the left ventricle and you plug it into the right tubular systematory, then the pneumonia takes over the appendix. And it's like, why don't you explain it in like words that people understand? Like a virus is it's like a sled. It's like a snowman. It's like Jack the Snowman, the one that's alive, riding a sled down a snowy hill. See, I get that.
Okay, so do you want me to right now just give a try at explaining a simple medical topic simply? Okay.
Yeah.
So...
like osteoporosis.
Okay. So osteoporosis, your bones are weak and brittle and bad. Was that good? Okay.
Huh?
Nope.
I think if you explained it more like, imagine you're Jack the Snowman. You've just
okay, so it has to be
a
snowman analogy.
I think most of our audience would understand that a lot more than the kind of vague. I don't know what I'm picturing when you're talking about this stuff.
It's just like we are like right at the start of summer, a little bit into summer now. And it just seems like an odd metaphor to be using.
Okay, what about a sandman on the beach? Like a sandman, and he's sledding down like a beachy hill, a sandy hill on a surfboard, on like a boogie board.
Okay, well, so I feel like...
And that's osteoporosis.
See, I'm not sure if that adequately conveys the actual meaning.
Well, these are your medical lessons. It's not my job.
Right. Okay, well...
My job is to keep Petey off of the computer.
That's what you consider to be your job, is keep your executive producer off the computer?
That's been clearly defined as my main task.
Your vocation. Okay, well, much as I appreciate, and we probably should talk a little bit more about, even bringing on an executive producer without mentioning it to me. That seems kind of like an odd move.
Should I read this next piece of listener feedback we can play an old clip from?
Yeah, I guess we could. Yeah, okay.
The listener says, "What happened to the musical episodes? Those are the ones that I miss the most." And I kind of have to agree, Dr. Linden. We haven't done a musical episode, I feel like, in a while. So, we should play... Let's play an old clip.
All right, I guess we had a lot of musical episodes. So to narrow it down, I'm just going to have to hear it in order to know which one we're talking about.
Play that clip.
Wow.
Rhythm and a blues, and you got them wondering, because I'm a patient, and you're the doctor, but it can't be.
Okay, well, that's a lesson for today. Give me a high five, a wink, and say hey, because now we're done. Yeah, and that was our
wow, that
successful.
That was a great episode. Yeah.
And what is impressive is
God, that was so
like
good.
all of that was written so far ahead of time. We revised it. We hired, symphony orchestra.
Sound time. We got sound
and,
time.
Like the studio time was expensive. Is that what you meant by sound time?
No, we had sound time.
You mean sound time?
Steven sound time.
Okay, so this is very embarrassing because the whole time we were working with him, I thought he just was referring to, like when he introduced himself, I thought it was just a reference to we're making sounds at this time.
Yeah.
Great. Well, no longer my favorite episode. Oh, don't tell him that though.
Oh, he's going to be pissed. Well, I've got a suggestion, Dr. London. Maybe to end this episode as a gift to our fans, and because they've been asking for it, maybe we play an old clip from the last episode of our good old friend, our old third co-host that we had on this show, Johnny Johnson.
Yeah.
The episode he famously passed away on.
Yeah, I just can't. Okay, I mean, it's still not easy.
Can we play a clip? Yeah, I don't know about that, Johnny. Well, maybe you should know about it.
Okay,
Cameron.
Johnny.
I just want to say, what's up,
Yeah.
my dad?
No, hey, Johnny. It's just,
I just want to thank you guys because you are my best friends, and I'm so happy that the three of us host this podcast
Yeah,
together.
but Johnny, we did want to talk to you about that because...
No! My heart!
Okay, well, I guess... because, we have to kind of let you go is...
Oh, my heart!
And so, with that in mind...
There goes Johnny.
Oh, before he could be fired.
It's falling over. And he's hitting the ground. Did you want to do something about this, doctor?
About
his heart and the guy on the ground? Or
well, I already fired him, so that was.
So you don't. Okay. So the medical part of that.
Oh
you're
no!
not...
I just when I'm in the zone with a podcast, I don't even think it. Okay, yeah. So
we can finish the episode and then we can help the guy.
Is that bad? Because I'm just in the zone.
Nah, let's just finish the episode. Yeah. When you're in the pod zone, you can't go home. That's what I've always said.
Yeah,
wow. Those are some good memories.
So, and
you were a lot cooler back then.
Yeah, I don't feel. Yeah, I still wake up at night about that.
He had to go though, right?
Wait. Well,
he was off.
Oh, like fire him? Yeah. No, he kept. Like, you know how the listeners will sometimes prank me with these notes. He would just walk up to me and stab me. So.
Yeah, he stole my son.
No,
He said, "I'm this kid's dad now," and the kid was like, "I mean, yeah," because that's how confident he was about the move.
Yeah.
Like the kid couldn't even call me dad anymore after seeing that alpha move. So just like, well, that's your kid now.
Yeah, and now that kid's an orphan. 'Cause you wouldn't take him back.
Yeah, no.
Well, so.
And he was in his early 30s.
Yeah. But in any case, I feel like this performance review has actually been kind of a downer now. I didn't think we would end on, tragedy. Aww. So, and yeah, once again about Johnny, I don't feel great about it. In fact, I feel pretty bad about it. But in any case, going forward, we're gonna try to just once again bring the best peer-reviewed medically.
I'm just gonna text Pete. Petey is actually here. Here, let me go. I'm gonna go get him. I'm gonna let him in. Okay, 1 second. Okay, yeah, just go ahead. Sit down.
Okay, hey guys, this is Petey. You might think that I look a little like your old friend Johnny, but you can tell that I have my mustache goes a different direction.
Yeah. Okay. So you just joined the team here. How do you know about Johnny?
Just because I'm an old time fan of the show, so obviously I knew when he was on the show as the old host. But, I'm not Johnny trying to be Petey or anything like that. I'm just a guy who's here and has no intention of taking revenge on the show or the host of the show for letting me pass away, sort of. I mean, letting Johnny do that, not me. Different person.
Okay, because yeah, if you were, because you bear such a resemblance to Johnny that, it would ease. Like, I wake up in cold sweats. I've gone to therapy. I have nightmares about that day. And I'd probably be angry, but I'd also be eased in my soul if I knew that, that maybe the worst had not happened.
Okay, I guess that's an interesting fact about you. Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, once again,
we could probably end the episode, right?
Like, this is not. I didn't think today would go like this. But everybody at home, all of our listeners, remember chronic bronchitis. Don't smoke. And yeah, keep giving us feedback, letting us know what's going on. Cameron, anything else from you?
I would say, just like, take out the amount of bread you think you're actually going to use in the next week and then freeze the rest.
Yes.
Right?
Okay, and, one other small detail that we didn't cover as much, but all of these, and we have stacks of these pages of listener mail and, listeners who have found us in person, everyone who just wanted to let us know that DJ Dylan has been absolutely, just taking us to new levels.
Yes.
And it, almost to a degree that's frustrating on my part because of the amount of work I put into this. But, so DJ Dylan, high praise from the listeners.
Yes.
And they're pretty emphatic that there's nothing that should change about DJ Dylan.
Nope.
So.
Nope. And DJ Dylan, I gotta ask, can you take us out with a little song?
DJ Dylan the house.
The medical lessons, I think the medical lessons need to be hella simplified, Dr. London, because right now they're like, excuse me, if you take the left ventricle and you plug it into the right tubular systematory.
When you're in the pod zone, you can't go home. That's what I've always said.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Jock Doc Annual Performance Review. Performance Review.
DJ Dylan has been absolutely taking us to new levels, and almost to a degree that's frustrating on my part.
Yes.
I'm drlondonsmith.com, and this has been the Jock Doc Podcast.
See ya.
You almost hear the audience chanting your name as you stare into the bright lights. You bask in the glaring heat as it rolls over you in waves until it begins to envelope your mind, nay, your soul. This is the moment that people speak of when realities shift and worlds collide. And this is you about to take as big a chunk of it as you can. Padded gloves adorning both hands, you reach into that oven and you grasp that tray and you take a long and euphoric whiff of those delicious brownies. Speaking of euphoria, don't forget to leave a 5-star review of the Jock Doc Podcast in which you describe the details of your latest foray into the kitchen. And while you're at it, go ahead and share the Jock Doc Podcast with a friend or foe. You can send them a link to your favorite episode, or just send them our handy website, jockdocpodcast.com. And don't forget to take a peek at our posts on social media. We are at Jock Doc Podcast. Thanks for listening.